my friends, welcome back to another video of green water fish. And this is going to be a Q&A video, and I've actually got a lot of questions from you guys, and thank you so much for those of you guys who've posted questions so far, and they're actually really good questions, so I'm going to tackle every single one of them in this video. Now, the first question is posted by Little Miss Goldfish, and she asked me, how did you get started into goldfish keeping, and what is the price of the most expensive fish that you've purchased? Being in Asia definitely has perks in terms of freshwater keeping and especially goldfish keeping because especially in China, goldfish is a pet with a long history, and it started in, I don't know, probably even before Qing Dynasty, but don't take my words for it. Ever since I was a kid, there's always goldfish around in my household, although people don't really keep them properly because people usually tend to keep them in fish bowls for goldfish. But I remember when I was a kid, I had 4 goldfish, and they lived for a very long time, a couple years, and I was really impressed because all we did was just feeding them a couple pellets every day and change water every 2 days or something. Really, there was, now that I think back to it, it's definitely not the proper way of keeping goldfish, but they are going strong and they live for a good couple of years. Although they didn't really put on sizes because of the condition that they were put in. So that's kind of my intro to goldfish keeping. Now, when I was when I was 6 or something, my father wanted to design something that, puts in the house that separates the living room from the bathroom, so you can't really see through the living room into the bathroom because it's not really a good thing to be able to see the bathroom for whatever reasons. So he decided to put a fish tank in between. So that's actually my first the first fish tank that I or my dad has ever owned, and it was planted. There was tropical fish, and I loved it. I loved it because for kids, it was just amazing because, well, those are really hardy plants. We had like Amazon swords and I don't know, the goldfish weeds, like the easiest plant to keep. You don't need to put anything in there. And I think the light was a really old, like 20 years ago, you have this old fluorescent light, like giant on top of the tank. But yeah, we had a lot of amazing fish, and some of the fish didn't really live peacefully with their tank mates. For example, we had an African cichlid living in a community tank, and it was not a good idea because he was very territorial and chased everyone out of the tank. But yeah, it was a great time, and then after that we upgraded to a properly designed tank meant for planted, a serious planted tank, and that's when I got seriously into this hobby. Now I kind of digress a little bit from goldfish keeping, but I think they're all like along the same line. But goldfish was always along the side project for me because I never really, look at goldfish as the way I am looking at it now, because I usually will have something small on the side. I would keep a couple goldfish in there just for the sake of it because it was so cheap in China, and they're all so pretty, and they don't require heating, they don't require planted tanks and lights and all that serious equipment. It's just so easy to have. So because they're so easy to have and so low maintenance, I never really took them seriously until I moved here. I remember I got my first black moor in the States a long time ago. I was shocked by the price because those black moors in China probably cost 10 cents, probably 20 cents. Yeah, not that much. But here it cost me $6 each fish, and I was still keeping them the way I used to keep them in China, and sure enough they died after a week. And I started looking into, the proper way of keeping goldfish, and I started to realize, oh, this is exactly why my goldfish do not live long, and this is exactly why they don't grow, and also why my fish never look the same as those giant, pretty, gorgeous creatures in those Goldfish store. So that's basically what led to where I am today. And the second part of the question was, what was the most expensive fish that you purchased? Honestly, I don't remember any really expensive fish that I have had. I think they're all pretty reasonably priced for the fish that I purchased. I never spent like hundreds of dollars on any fish, at least not yet. But I do see in the future that I will probably buy some impressive fish, probably buy some high quality goldfish, so I can start a good pair to breed. And I'll probably keep arowana. That's my dream fish to have. So yeah, I think most of my money are spent on, you know, the equipment and general setup, and also planet tanks. Planet tanks, that just sucks up a lot of money. Okay, now the second question. It was posted by Aquaman Jr. The question is, if you haven't already, can you put a video on how to shop for your own filter media? I use the carbon cartridges, and I am on my last two that I have, and plan on changing my methods. Smiley face. Well, thank you, Aquaman Jr., and I really like all of your comments so far, and it's been a joy reading your comments. But yeah, this is a good question. So, as I talked about in the hop filter video that you can see here, I talked about why I did not choose to put any carbon material in the filter. And I also talked about, why you don't want to use the cartridges that came with the filter, because it's just not efficiently designed. It's just, I don't know, waste of space. So usually what I do is I buy clear filter media. They're like the ones that came with the Aqua Clear filters. They have little media bags that came with it, and they have different sizes, well, it's based on grams, like how big the bag is. So I find that media pretty good because it's highly porous, meaning that there are a lot of holes, a lot of surface areas for the bacteria to colonize on. And also it's, I just like the color, it's white, it looks neat. And also it's heavy because it's not plastic material, it has a floating tank, and I can use that to drop on top of the sponge filter, and that will set it down very nicely. And with the little bags, you can also purchase smaller sizes. I think the smallest size was 50 grams or 70 grams, I think. And I think that's small enough that you can put multiple bags in, but also give you the flexibility of adding 1 versus 3 versus however many you want. I did try the Fluvo filter media. It's similar material, but I feel like it's a little bit less porous. The filter balls are also a little bit bigger, and it doesn't come with filter bag, a media bag. So you have to purchase your own media bag. You can DIY a bag. So that's one more step that you have to do. So I did not really like it that much. I didn't really try any other products, but I would definitely recommend the Aqua Clear media bags. Now they are a little bit pricey, but I did got a decent amount of them when they were on sale in PetSmart. So that's an option when they're on sale. They're usually pretty reasonably priced. So I would just wait for the best time and buy those, and they're the best. Alright, moving on to the next question. The next question is posted by Suzanne Waithers. Hope I said your name right. And her question was, how could I do large water changes in a house that cannot attach a water changer to any of the taps? Thank you for posting your questions. I also really like reading your comments as well. You are one of the earliest subscribers I can remember. Yeah, I do remember you guys. Don't think that I don't remember. This is a really good question, so I'm pretty sure this actually happens pretty commonly for a lot of fish keepers. So one option for example, for draining. If your tank is actually on a higher level, and the drain side, for example, you want to drain into your bathtub or the kitchen sink, is on a lower surface compared to the tank. This is your tank, this is your draining surface. You can get the drain started by sucking at the other end of the hose, or you can using a siphoning bowl to get the drain started. And as soon as it starts, you can just leave the other end of the hose at the drain side because it's lower than the tank, so the gravity would be able to do the work. If it doesn't work, you can also check out my video for, well, it's actually the same video that I posted the Q&A request. So it's the water changing using the pump. So you can attach the pump to a water hose and drop the pump into the tank. Even if your tank is at this level and your kitchen sink is higher, like the tank that I have here on the lower side, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I have a tank on the lower side. I use a pump to drop in the tank. The pump will pump the water against the gravity to go to wherever that you want to drain the tank to. Now the tricky part comes with when you want to fill the tank. I don't recommend using buckets, but if you want to work out, you definitely can, but just make sure when you bend over, don't bend at your waist, bend at your knee, so it's not going to put a lot of stress on your lumbar that way. It's just a tip. You don't want to get herniation or anything. But you can size through your tap. So some of the, I'm not sure what kind of taps you have in your house, but some of the taps have, you know, a size that you can use a water hose, flexible water hose, and use a hose adapter to clamp onto it, and then you can turn on the tap and then the water will go to your tank that way. If you have a garden and you have a water outlet in your garden, you can also attach to that using garden hose that way. That will also work. Or you can, that's the last resort, you can have a big tub with all the water that you already filled in, probably from your bathtub or whatever. Make sure your bathtub is clean, does not have any soap or anything in it. You can fill up the bathtub with water conditioner, treat it, and then you can drop the pump into the bathtub and pump the water back into the tank that way. The next question is posted by Goldfish Hobbyist, and the question was, how can I make the best use of the space that I have to facilitate their or Goldfish growth? Thanks. This is a really good question, and I'm sure it's very relevant to a lot of people. For example, for people like me living in an apartment. Well, the recommendation that I would give would based on the number of fish that you have. In all honesty, I think tubs are the best for Goldfish grow outs because they can hold a large volume of water. Water parameters does not fluctuate that frequently and drastically. There's a lot of buffer room that you can probably stock a little bit more fish in bigger container compared to smaller tanks. So for example, if you have a 30-gallon tank, you can probably put two grown-up adult goldfish in there maximum. But if you have, so that's 15 gallons per fish. You can push it to 3 fish, but you have to keep up the water changing really frequently. But for a big tub, for example, for 150 gallons of tub, you're not just gonna put 10 fish in there, you can probably put 15 fish in there, no problem. Why? Because the tank is a lot bigger, has a lot of buffer room, and has a lot more space for the fish as well. So it's just better or more efficient if you have bigger tubs. Although it may not be the most efficient way of having the biggest gallons of water per, I don't know, square feet of area that you have, but I think it's the best for Goldfish grow out. Now the second option is to have stands. Now there are a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about how to DIY your fish tanks. You can build from wood, and you can build 3 layers, and in that way you can use the height as another dimension to add into the water volume that you have for your fish. Now that requires a lot of planning, requires a lot of working around the shop and building and using the drills and all that stuff. Not everyone has access to it, so that could be a little bit tricky too. And also you kind of need to buy a glass aquarium. I don't think you can really put big tubs on those stands, and that will get a little pricey too. And you could also build your own acrylic tanks, but then that's DIY building your own acrylic tank, so that takes a little bit of work and skills to do that as well. Now if you don't want to build your own tank, another option is to buy pre-made stands. For example, for the tank I have here, I bought a pre-made stands from Walmart. I'll post the link down below in the description box. Now there are different versions of it. Just keep just pay attention to the maximum pounds per shelf that you can have, and so then you can save all the work building your own stand, but you can also take advantage of the height that you have in your room. Although it does not stack up to that height, it only stacks up to your body height level, so it does not, you know, use the top level of space that you have, but it's better than nothing. And then another caveat for this stand is that the lower top is usually pretty low, sitting almost on the ground level. So that's another thing, because when you change water, that can get a little tricky, especially if you don't have a pump, and it'll get a little bit of, you'll probably have to do more work that way. And another thing that I need to mention is that it's not just the space that you have that would affect how your goldfish grow. It's also a matter of a lot of things. For example, goldfish grows the fastest during the summertime because the temperature is the highest and they eat a lot, they have high metabolism, and they grow a lot. And then water changes. Frequent water changes stimulate their growth like crazy. There's no better way to stimulate your goldfish to grow than frequent water changes. Some people would even do 80% changes every day. I cannot do that because I don't have the time to do it, but if you do and you seriously want your goldfish to have the best growth ever, do frequent water changes, and also keep up with their diet. Use high protein diet for especially juvenile fish. I hope I answered your questions. If not, do let me know. The last question was posted by Nin Nguyen. And the question was, is there any other alternatives to clean the bottom of my pond? My pond sits at a very low ground level, so using suction hose from the water changer doesn't really suck up all the dirts that always visibly sit at the bottom of my pond. Stinky face. Well, this is the issue that I run into as well. My pond, as all of you guys know, are sitting on the ground level, so it's very hard to clean. And interestingly, the answer that I was going to give you was actually provided by another subscriber of mine. So basically what he suggested was look into a pump that has both inlet and outlets that you can attach hoses to. So for example, for the pump that I showed you guys in the prior video, if you take away the case and the sponge, you will see that there is an inlet that goes into the propeller that sucks the water to the outside. So if you take away the case, you can attach a hose to that inlet, because the inlet is actually circular. It's it will fit to a regular hose. The only thing that you want to pay attention to is that when you do attach hoses directly to the inlet, you do run the risk of exposing your propeller to debris. For example, if you have stones or little rocks on the bottom of your pond and you suck up the hard objects through the hose into the inlet, that will go directly into the propeller, because the propeller is not protected by the sponge and different layers of protections anymore, and that could potentially damage your propeller and your pond. So that's one thing that you want to pay attention to. One solution to this is to use a media bag or whatever mesh that you have and wrap it around the suction end of the hose, so that you have a filter to prevent the rocks or hard objects from being sucked into your propeller. Now you can also look into other pumps, but you just want to make sure that the inlet is the size and shape that you can attach your hose to. Some of the inlets could be a rectangular shaped, and I don't know if you'll be able to find any hoses that are rectangular. So just little things like that you can just pay attention to, and you'll be able to do that. So yeah, these are all the questions, and I hope I answered all of you guys' questions. And if not, please do let me know in the comment section. I'll let you guys know when we're up for another Q&A video. And a sneak peek for next video is actually right here. For those of you who actually follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you know that I recently had another batch of Ryuken babies. So I'm pretty excited about it. This spawn was actually pretty big, but I don't want to ruin the surprise, so I'll show you guys in the next video for sure. So watch out for that. And yeah, so please feel free to let me know what other questions that you have, and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!